Tricky mate. Hello? What the hell is that? Oh my god. I'm just made it. Oh my goodness. This is really, really unbelievable.
Wow. That was something. While that was playing, something amazing happened. And so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Take It to the Max show. Something fell actually, but hey, that happens. Anyway, my show, as always, is going to feature me playing 5-minute chess and analyzing those games live. Let's see who we get today. And meanwhile, of course, we had some amazing tournaments. Congratulations to Levon Aronyan for winning the Norway chess tournament, a point ahead of competition, and getting back to the top 5 in the world, top 4 in fact. And to Vlad Kramnik for showing that he still has it and keeping the number 2 spot, taking it away from Wesley. So, although I liked Kramnik's comment in one of the interviews where he said that he thinks that still Magnus Carlsen is the most underrated player in the world. That's pretty high praise for someone who's number 1 and coming from number 2. So he expects Magnus to find his rhythm and start winning games and winning tournaments again. This was, I think, Magnus's first minus result in a long, long time, maybe 10 years or so. So let's see what happens and who we get here. So far, no takers to the in the 5-minute pool. Maybe that's something to do with some internet issues worldwide. We'll see. Anyhow, interesting. Well, no one taking on the 5-minute pool. Should I try the 3-minute pool perhaps? While that's going on, let me try the 3-minute pool to get at least a game in. Oh, got a 5-minute taker. Okay, Scandinavian or Sicilian. Let's go with the Sicilian. Although maybe one day I should show that I actually play the Caro-Kann. I even have a DVD on how to crush super grandmasters with the Caro-Kann. I haven't played that in a while, but I should probably. Let me play the Caro-Kann today. In fact, I like that idea. Okay, well, I'm going to play this oldie but goodie bishop d7. Let's see. Okay, now we can take. And queen a5. Okay, this is old stuff, but still not bad, huh? Quite does it, says white. And let me play b5 then. And b4. Wow, that move is now e5, I guess. Well, e5 looks good because white has to play g5. And that looks pretty good for me. Well, then the e4 pawn goes. And then bishop d5. That's the idea. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So, time to think a little bit. About this position. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice on that exchange. Although, I think there are plenty of other good moves. Knight f6. Let's go with knight f6. I just like the idea that the a pawn is difficult to defend. Now knight e8. I'm wondering about the a pawn now. And the c pawn is next. Rook c8, bishop f5 would be my idea. If white plays a3, for instance. I'm not going to help white defend the c pawn by taking on a3. I think I'm just play rook c8. The question is, why didn't I play knight d5 though, huh? That's just dumb. Knight d5, queen f3, bishop e6 or bishop c6. It looks just brilliant. So why put the knight on e8? I just missed knight d5, that's why. That square was invisible because of the previous bishop d5 move. Now I force my opponent to think for no apparent reason. And he really is thinking, huh? There's some serious thinking from my opponent here. It's going to play a bullet game after this move, I think. It's going to be quite nice, especially in a non-increment environment. I suppose queen a2 is quite an idea, but maybe white can play f4 here, I'm thinking. Queen a2, pawn takes pawn. Well, still rook c8. Looks quite nasty for white. Well, he disconnected. Okay, well let's actually see what's going on in this position. Is white a little better? No, white is worse. White is quite a bit worse. According to the ancients, almost a pawn down, over a pawn down. So not so bad. Now, having said that, was 95 was just crushing, right? So, so my instincts were correct. This was not a good way for white to play this position, and 94 was the best move. Good. That's good to know. Where did white go wrong? I think this idea of knight b1. I mean, he had to play g5 here. Although after 98, knight b1. I actually had a game, I believe, against late Emery Tate from this position, and queen d8, and then white's attack takes a long time to brew while I'm kind of threatening a5 and a4. And this is not such a great position for white, although not as bad as what happened in the game. Okay, so okay. Bold plan tells me I'm the worst. I don't know why someone would say that and what that means, but in any case, maybe I'm the worst, but am I the very worst? So white to think about how to play. There we go. Tactico-tac. My God, I can't pronounce that. Can I? Tactico-tac-attack. 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 All right. Well, let's develop our pieces. Okay. Dutch defense. And I love the knight on f4. Such a good piece that can make it there. Immediate, huh? You know what? I'm going to go for the sending. And I'm going to just develop my bishop to b2 or a3. Let's say b2 for now. Knight d2, and then I'm planning to go e4 soonish. Although I guess white, maybe c5, knight c4 is the right idea, huh? c5 followed by knight c4. How does that work? Let's do it, and I'll figure it out. And that goes to c4. If we trade on e5, then I'll have to play something like f4. I'm not sure I want to do that. So I'm going to have to defend that pawn on c5, probably with b4 or rook c1 first. Now rook c1. Now I'm threatening knight c4, hopefully. Okay. Knight c4. And then I wanted to go here and exchange those guys. That bishop must be valuable. Quite valuable. Now the next story is, how do I get that knight from h3 into the game? f4, e4, knight f2. Or just f3, knight f2. Maybe f3, knight f2 is better. Maybe just take it easy, right? f3, knight f2. I'm a little worried about knight d5. Just okay, that's another issue. Okay, this knight to d5. Okay. All right, might as well do my plan. I hope that knight on e3 doesn't overstay his welcome. I'm planning knight d3 later and knight c5. So let's see what happens with that. Maybe knight d1 too. Knight d3 and knight d1. Those are my ideas. Okay, so that stops knight c5. So then knight d1 is obviously the best choice. I could have played bishop h3. That was another possibility. I kind of didn't want to waste the time. If black plays knight fd5, then I'll take and play bishop h3 before playing king f2. All right. Didn't get that. Okay, then the knight e3 is what I was thinking. Oh wait, bishop f6. Bishop f6. That's one ugly pawn structure black has now. My knight goes to e3. Oops. All right, missed that. Still not bad, I think. Yeah, pawn structure like that, it's hard to hold on to everything. Okay, b4. Okay, let's take as much as we can. f5, h6, lots of pawns hanging out there. Not that worried about the queen side. Yep, let's grab that one. Oh boy. Here comes everything. Crushing down on black's head. This is too much. This looks like it's too much. Knight h6, knight g4. It's coming. Even rook c7 at this point is a big thing because of the knights. The knight going to d4 in some cases. Okay, let's let's take before playing rook d6. The rook and pawn is going to be winning, because when you have two extra pawns on one side, that's usually just crushing against one passed pawn. Just not enough. You create two connected passed pawns and you just keep moving them. I hope e3 doesn't mate me. Guess not. I can always take that e pawn, right? And meanwhile, f6 is a big problem. Okay. This is interesting. That's interesting. Rook f6, king g7, king f2 though. Just king f2. Stops e3 check. Now three extra pawns on the king side. Now black wants to go knight, ace, bishop a6. That's a bit annoying. Wow, that's a bit annoying. I better defend against that. Shoot! My God, this is a bit annoying, but just a bit, not enough. Not enough to get me completely riled up about this position. Rook g5 check, of course, is my little tactic. And I'm still in good shape here. And my opponent is just dying on time here, dying. Poor thing. All right, now, okay, time to queen the f pawn. What's that? I still trying to trick me. That's funny. All right, I don't know. 93. Okay, then I take this one. And I stop that counterplay that. All right, too late to move fast, I think. Yeah. All right, so interesting game, actually. It was a tough decision, but I thought the endgame should be a little bit better for white. b3, bishop b2. Yeah, maybe I should have brought in my knight, like knight g5. You know, at least I would have seen it play around for a while, but I didn't. And so c5 was an interesting idea. Knight a6, rook ac1. Now h6, knight c4, rook e8. This was a good trade, I believe. And now the question was how to start bringing this knight. And maybe I should have just taken it easy, played a3, you know, then rook d1. But I let those knights in by playing f3. Now this is weak. And black, I think, played a good move, knight b4, knight d5, and knight e3. And b6, yeah, this was a mistake. I think black now should have taken the chance to attack this pawn. Of course, then I would have playing there to go knight c5. And I don't know, this is getting, I was going to move the bishop away, and then rook d6, of course, I can take on e5. I don't know. Maybe black is okay here, so it's not clear that I'm better, but it's obviously a complicated position. All right, so black played b6, and now I went for this exchange, and yeah, and this was a mistake. I think after that, the position becomes very bad for black. He tries to win this pawn, but it's not only about pawns, it's about the positioning of the pieces. The pieces are positioned horribly. If black took the bishop, the pawn on b3, knight f takes f5, and just all these pawns are hanging. I don't know. c5, rook f6. He can't even get his pawns going because I don't know. Looks very dangerous. Black, I think quite a big advantage for me. So he plays king f7. I take, and bishop takes. He can't hold it in. I mean, I would play something like rook e8 to stop rook c7 check. And of course, after b4, I'm just better. I have plans of like moving my king up to try to win this pawn. And black really has to be very careful against many of the possibilities. But at least, careful is one thing, losing is another thing. And this is clearly losing to me because now these king side is just getting devastating. I think this was all fine. And this is good. And this was fine. I could have, by the way, played knight e3 at some point, maybe after rook e7 check, but I didn't want to go into that. So here I thought black's only chance was to actually take, because at least he gets two connected pass pawns, although mine are runners. So anyway, wow. Really not too many people online today, or something is going on. Some Skype problem somewhere, I don't know. 1973, I don't think I played down that much. Don't remember last time I did, actually. All right. Good. Let's see if we can give home team a little spanking here using our extra rating points. Or maybe moves that come from that. Meanwhile, attacking b7, hitting that queen. Let's see what black comes up with. Okay. Let's attack. Let's stop the center. Stop 94. Okay, off we go. Take some space. Let's move our knight into a5. That's the next step. Knight goes to a5, and black goes, okay, g5 here. No problem. And h4. Stopping that. Let's take. And I can't play bishop h3 yet, so let's go knight b3. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop c2, knight a5, and if bishop takes d4, knight takes b7, and I quite like my position. Otherwise, I'm playing knight a5 anyway. Bishop h3 is also something that looks nice to add into the mix. All right, now the piece. Now there's no. Okay, now I can take on d7 and on e5, and after the. Well, that's gotta be good, right? First of all, that's an extra central pawn, so it can't be too bad. Secondly, after knight d4, e6 will be quite a threat. Namely, rook e7, defends nicely, okay. Should I bring in the knight? Looks nice, and it stops knight e6, I guess. Sort of stops knight e6, maybe it doesn't. Certainly makes it unwelcome. Knight e6, knight e6, and then knight d4 check. Maybe even knight f4 check, because that wins material. Okay, now let's move the king out finally. Let's see how black develops his forces. Okay. All right. Well, let's defend it. Yeah. All right. These knights have to go. I have more where that came from. Actually, here f5 looks interesting, right? f5 followed by, okay, so rook e5 takes, knight d4. Obviously, that's what's going to happen if I play that move. How can I make it f5, rook e5? Hmm. I don't allow that. So I'm going to play knight d4. Simply that. Okay. Cool idea. Cool idea. All right. I'm going to go for the bishop instead of the exchange. I think I can always get the exchange, but if I get the bishop, then black will have no blockade, and I'll break through with f5 eventually. With my king on d4. Here's my king. Going to d4. All right. In comes my rook. Incoming missile. Okay, now time to protect my rook from bishop e5. And double on the g file. There we go. Threatening. Okay. Now. Interesting. Maybe my... Oops. Did I just blunder the pawn? I did, didn't I? Or maybe not. I can take on h5. Okay. How do I block this pawn? This is serious stuff. There's no real joke anymore. Wow. Big problems. All right, let's say we block it on h2. I'm gonna have to sack my rook, I think, at some point. King g2 is coming. Okay, let's block that. Wow. It's getting very exciting. Oh, yeah. What's going on? Damn. This is bad stuff. This is not good. I don't have much time either. Oh my god. It's gonna queen on me, oh my god. It's queened on me. Oh boy, next step. How do I survive? Well, I'm going for it. Okay. I'm going to win, hopefully. Oh yeah, this is something, huh? And this is winning. Tough, very tough opponent, as you can see. This is something incredible. I was, of course, losing somewhere right around here. I saw some rook checks that were winning, but it wasn't as obvious. Even this position is just a draw, according to the computer. Look at that, king e3. Yeah, bishop d2 was what I initially thought was drawing, but then I tried to win. And this is, of course, dangerous, because now black could have played something else, like king d3, the other way. And this is actually just a draw. Amazingly enough, this position. Yeah, that was dangerous. I should have just taken again. And that's actually a draw according to the computer. But if I go rook e1, well, anyway, we got Junior, 64, playing against Queen's Gambit accepted. Let's see how Junior does. Okay, the early bishop d3. We're going to keep that queen pinned up to the pawn for a little bit. That's why I play an early. That's why I played the early knight c6. Now we develop our pieces. Very traditional position. Yeah, here a lot of moves to black. One move I like is b4. Takes knight a5. Not completely necessary, but quite possible. Okay, now bishop d5, is it? Just rook c8. Kind of pinpointing the positioning of the bishop. Also maybe stopping knight c5 for a little bit, because bishop c5, or maybe just queen d5 first. It's possible. Maybe bishop c5 and just take some c5 eventually. Okay, now bishop d5. Threatening bishop b3. And also trying to move the bishop back, knight back to c6, where it actually contests the e5 knight. Yeah, now that's possible. Knight c6. Let's do it. These positions are quite complicated. I do have ideas such as knight takes d4, but of course you have to calculate knight takes a6 here for white. I think that's a reasonable move. Taking for something from almost nothing. Although after queen a5, I can probably win back that pawn. But is that the move I want to play? Let's see, knight e5, de is forced, otherwise bishop c4. Knight g4, bishop f4. And then queen b6 hits f2. And the knight's kind of, okay, that looks nice. Okay, I'm going to do that. Knight takes, knight g4, and queen b6. Bishop c4 is upcoming, and white has to make a decision how to defend the f2 pawn. Of course, I can play bishop c4, then give up my knight on f2 and take on a6 with a nice pawn structure. Okay. Something to think about for sure. Not very pleasant, potentially, for white, this position. Plus, even moves like rook e2 could get wasted with bishop c4, right? So, really have to be careful. But queen g3, I can take on f2, and then simply take on a6 and win the a pawn. And other things are going to be happening too. Some dangerous bishops are coming. Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to do. And just take this guy. Yeah, a3 is a goner. So not only, yep, grab that one. Okay, normally just bishop c5 should be okay. And just win that endgame, I imagine. Rook c3 is not too shabby either, but you know, I'm going to keep it simple. Yeah, takes and trade some more. Yeah, bishop. Okay. Okay. The more the merrier. Aha! Such a proposal is interesting. And readily accepted, let's put it this way. Because now I don't know how to defend the e-pawn. King g7, king g6, king f5, rook d5, rook takes pawn. Here I come. This doesn't faze me. Doesn't faze me at all. King f5, rook d5, up 2 pawns. Have to call the knight. All right, well, then I just take. Still up 2 pawns. And I'm moving in. So let's see if there was something in that position for white, because it didn't seem that obvious. Yeah, position like this. Yeah, knight c5 I thought earlier was better, but still, I think positions roughly equal if I just take on c5, and now bishop d5. Yeah, now interesting. Knight c5 and knight c6. Actually, wow, that's a good move. Okay, knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, and knight g4. And now bishop f4, queen b6. Okay, queen e2. Wow, how does that work? Knight f2. Look at that. Fireworks. Bishop e3, bishop c4. Bishop takes b6, bishop takes e2. That's nice fireworks. Because if bishop takes f2, take the rook and take the a pawn, I guess, right? Oh, now they will take the rook, play rook d8, and then take the a pawn eventually. And okay, I mean, white still has this nasty knight on a6, not very well placed. Okay, I can't really lose this position and I'll have some chances to win. But so white still had equality here, queen e2. Wow, that is an interesting moment to consider. So knight f2, bishop e3, bishop c4, bishop takes, bishop takes. Oh, wait a second. Why don't I take the knight? Yeah, I think I'll just taking the knight instead of taking the rook. And white is worse. All right, our penguin. I think I'm going to keep it with the London here today, as I'm not hitting on the Grandmasters. They're null and void. They're playing some major tournaments, I guess. Maybe I should go and play. The World Open, for example, is coming up. Maybe I'll play in the... Wait a second. Can't I just play e5 here? Let's kick that queen. Okay. Time to move the knight in. What they do wrong? Something wrong. Maybe I didn't do anything wrong, but it looked like I was doing something wrong for a second. I think it's just winning. Check. Takes. Knight f7 is a big problem for black, I think. Going forward. Black is thinking hard. I think he's got to take the bishop. Otherwise, knight f7 just wins exchange. Okay, bishop c6 is also possible. Okay, here I was thinking rook takes b5 to attack the b7 pawn too. Jeez. Ho ho ho. Queen e2 h6. Queen f3 knight e6. Queen g4. Wow, I can't take on e6. He's got to play h6. That's his really only move. So how do I deal with h6? Cancels h6 knight f7. Okay, I'm gonna cancel. That's the ticket. Knight e6, queen g4, and if h6, knight f7, and then f5. Yeah, queen g4 wins now. No defense to that pin. Simply no defense. Sorry. Let's bring it in. Queen f7, big threat. Mm. Mm-hmm. b7 is hanging, so okay, time to part with that piece, and then okay, this is nice. What am I up? I'm up a lot, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can get in another game. Meanwhile, I think this is just losing for black, but finding the right moves is always interesting. Yeah, this is strong. Check, takes. I think both. Okay, maybe rook takes is better, but okay, this is maybe a mistake. So this was actually a big problem. I should have taken with the knight. Knight takes much stronger because now if queen c8, f5, and queen f3, and no time for h6 because this is just checkmate, right? So you can't oust me. Well, that was something I should have probably figured out. I mean, I was looking at that position for a while as black was thinking about taking on b5, and I just made the wrong decision. Knight b5 is completely winning, while rook b5, queen c8, castle. Now black should have played just knight. Oh, still not so great for black. Knight c6, knight d5, knight d4, rook b1, and still taking on e6 is dangerous because of rook e1, just crushing through e7 square. Wow. So black is really still in big trouble. Queen c6, c4 simply, h6, knight f7, that was my general plan, and then f5, that was the idea. Okay, but this is going to be very dangerous because I'm going to sacrifice on f5 and play queen h5. And this is crazily bad for black. Knight g6, but then knight d6, so g6 comes with check. And okay, now this is just some sort of pulverization station. This is nice tactic, and just move the king away because there's knight e7. And not just knight e7, but knight e7 check, followed by bishop f4 check, followed by knight takes rook. Yeah, this is really bad. Black is in big trouble. So, okay, rook b5 also gives black huge problems. And of course, after knight e6, it's just game over. I was thinking black would play something like h6. Okay, I end it. All right. Okay, today is the day for non-masters, I guess. So let's see how this goes. Let's hit that knight back. a3, fine. Let's attack the pawn on d4 with a tempo. That's why he's moving his knight all over the board. and try to create some extra moves for myself. Okay. Okay, also moving my knight strangely. And maybe I for c5 here. Okay. I like to be ignored. It's always good news when you're ignored. That means you can do what you want. My opponent just ignored me. Wow. I thought queen d2 hitting the knight was timely. All right, now knight g4 is possible. Just knight f5, I think. Interesting position. Okay, time to develop some more pieces. Let's not allow knight g5. All right. Here come my pieces. What's the next step for white? That's the big question. Okay, I was thinking b5 and maybe picking up that stray a pawn, but maybe that's just not a smart idea. But anyway, let's just kick that knight away and see what happens. Because I'm going to have to defend the b5 pawn after that. So it wasn't very smart to do that, but okay. Kick the knight from c4 for starters and then figure it out later. All right. Okay, now what? Now let's send this knight to b4. Or maybe c3, if, weather permitting. Okay, trade. Trade's okay, I guess. f4 is another possibility for the knights now. All right, gotta leave this for now. Okay. Okay. Knight c5 is in the air. It's not what I want to allow, really. So I better play knight b4 first to resolve this amicably. And then maybe bishop d5 now, yeah? To play bishop takes f3 on knight c5, and otherwise knight c6 to hit the d4 pawn. That's my idea. Takes knight d4, wins the pawn. I'm going to go for it. A healthy pawn. That's a healthy pawn. Hopefully. It's not that healthy because white can take on e7. I'll take on a7, a2 rather, and rook c7 actually threatens bishop g6. Something I'm not so sure I wanted to allow. Like I guess I could play queen d8. Oh, that's just not very good. Okay, now I can take on f3. It's probably a good idea. And then just take. Okay, that's an extra pawn. And rook d6 protects everything. Whoa. That was probably silly. Oh, that's okay. Rook d6, c d6, b4, knight b2, bishop b7, knight c4, takes on a6, takes on a3, king f1, king f8. I'm okay there. And it's happening. I can even go for the c2 pawn. Simply go knight c2 and knight b4 if I want to, but do I have to? Let me figure it out now. King e7. Once I reach d7, if it goes to b3, do I really want that or not? Something looks winning anyway after knight c2. King e7, king d3, king d7, king c3, king c7, king b3, king b6, bishop c8, knight c4, and then I go knight d4. Do I want that extra pawn? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I'm going to just trade this stuff. Oh, knight d4 check. Stop myself. Oh, I pre-moved. Can you imagine? I actually pre-moved. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ah, yeah. I pre-moved when I could just fork white out of the box. Now he's moving away. Okay, I'm going to create some weaknesses on f4. All right, without f4, white's completely lost. Now I'm just moving in. Just moving in. Yeah. Okay, I mean, white didn't have to blunder that bishop because he could have made a king move and eventually we would have gotten a similar endgame. So not such a big deal. But okay, I mean, I think white had a good position, reasonably good position, and then just got tough, basically. All right, I hope you enjoyed this show. I managed to beat everyone. Of course, today's competition wasn't as sturdy as usual, but hey, I take it the way they come. All right, all the best to you, everyone, and happy Father's Day to those that were recently congratulated by their kids, and all the best. Bye bye. Have a good night. This was great.